What's going on, everyone? Austin John Place here, and today I'm going to be going over some strategies that you can do to get really good at doing max Tera Raids. It is 9:55 a.m. I am going to do everything in my power to explain the nuances, strategies, and tactics for you to go from not being able to complete a single 5-star raid to almost consistently being able to do 6-star raids. I've spent a good amount of time doing raids online in my Discord, listening to people's feedback, writing down 3 pages of questions that people have asked me, and there's a lot of things people don't know, and the first misconception is that the 5-star raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are just as easy as the 5-star raids in Pokemon Sword and Shield. They are not. Some people think that the level 6-star Scarlet and Violet raids are just as easy as the level 100 5-star raids that were promotional events in Sword and Shield. They are not. And by the end of this, if you think about the power of a 7-star raid, you should be wetting your pants. The very first thing that I have to say, and I don't know how to say this nicely, please do not join raids that you cannot do. If you can't take down 5-star raids, if 5-star raids don't even appear on your map, don't join someone else's 5-star raid. 5-star raid level Pokemon are level 75. If you are not level 75, don't join someone else's Pokemon battle against a level 75. You should be above that level. 6-star raids are level 90. If you're not level 90 plus, don't join a 6-star raid. You're gonna hurt the timer and you're gonna rely on people to carry you, but that's not how 5-star raids work in this game. Everyone needs to pull their weight. Please, do not join raids that you are not able to do. Even though I consider myself something of a Pokemon master, I very often need to reference the Pokemon type calculator, which is pkmn.help. And this is going to help you calculate super effective and defensive moves for specific types of Pokemon. The number one reason I'm making this video is because every time that I start doing raids online, I lose. Meanwhile, in offline mode, I succeed in that raid no problem. Doing a raid online is not always advantageous of doing it on your own. When an NPC gets knocked out, there is no time penalty. However, when you get knocked out or any other active player gets knocked out, there is a time penalty. So when you see that little time meter just randomly decide to jump down a whole bunch, it's because people got knocked out. In 1 and 2-star raids, you don't need to know anything. In 3-star raids, you need to figure out a little bit. By 4-star raids, you need to get the hang of it. You're only gonna unlock 4-star raids after your 8th gym badge, so your Pokemon have to be level 50 plus. And you only unlock 5-star raids after becoming champion, and you only unlock 6-star raids in the post game. So honestly, I am gonna be focusing quite heavily on 8th gym badge champion time, but these are lessons to learn, and you can start preparing for endgame raids as soon as you start playing the game. At the very beginning of this playthrough, I started with a Riolu, who is now this level 100 Lucario, and he's just been with me, South Province Area 4 on the 16th. He's now a fantastic Pokemon for my team. The very first thing that I would like to talk about is the nuances of type matchups. Pokemon has always been a game within a game that you need to factor in the Pokemon that you're super effective against, meanwhile the attacks that are super effective against you. But now, that divide has grown greater. For a raid like this, I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, well, it's a steel type, and who's that Pokemon? That's Pawmo, or Pawmoe, who is electric and fighting, and that Tera type is steel. Well, I know that steel is weak to ground types, and that Pokemon is gonna be coming at me with electric type moves, so I want a ground type, 100%. It's also a 3-star, so I don't need to factor in really anything else. I go in there with a ground type, I win. Period. Simple as that. And then we get to some of them that are a little bit more nuanced. So this is a Lumineon here, but it's a rock Tera type. So I need to be super effective against rock type Pokemon. And since it's a 4-star, it now has a shield. And the shield is greatly affected when you do a Tera attack and not very affected when you do not do a Tera attack. So I have to have a Pokemon whose Tera type is going to be either fighting, ground, steel, water, or grass, as displayed below. When looking through my options here, that same ground type Pokemon that I used for Palmy, I'm looking at this and, well, if I bring out a ground type Pokemon with me, this Pokemon is doing water attacks. I'm gonna die. Fighting? and Steel would be okay, but the best ones would be Water and Grass, because I'm going to resist his Water type moves and be super effective against that Rock type. Now, if I were to use a trusted and reliable source of information about new Pokemon games when they release, like Cerebi, I could come on here and look at this Pokemon's moves in this generation. And I know that Pokemon are going to be level 45 in 4-star raid battles. And if I look at what moves it would know by the level 45, it would know Whirlpool, Aqua Ring, Safeguard, and Attract, and then it may also have some of its Egg moves or TM moves, which can include Acrobatics. So because of that, the Grass type doesn't sound that advantageous anymore. My best bet is to go in here with a Water type. The Water type is going to resist its Water type stab moves. It's going to be super effective against its Rock type. In the very rare chance that it has Terra Blast, I am not going to be super affected by its Terra Blast. And any Egg moves or TM moves that are non-Water type are not going to be super effective against me either. This one is going to be a Rock type. It's either Electrode or Jigglypuff seen from above. I should use a Ground type Pokemon. Easy clap. The only situation here is Electrode can have soundproof, so it may be immune to sound type attacks. And because I would just be using Earthquake, I win. Then you can get into some situations that there's not really a clear good answer. It's an electric Tera type, and it's the psychic thing that gets to the taller Gothitelle, that's Gothitelle. It's only weak to ground, and offensively, Psychic is going to be super effective to fighting and poison. It's neutral to ground, so if I bring a ground type, it's going to be neutral to me, and I'm going to be super effective against it. It's not really that clear of a winner, but it's definitely the only option that you have for a raid like this. Now's the time to start thinking about the dual typing and how you lose your dual typing. So say, for example, you're like, okay, but I want to resist this thing. So you would pick something like Ground and Dark. If you have a Ground Dark Pokemon, which there is one in the game, but your Tera type is Ground, then for the first 3 attacking turns, you're going to be Ground and Dark. However, once it throws its shield up, and you terrestrialize to a Ground type, you lose that Dark type resistance / immunity. So then its attacks are going to be neutral, or possibly in some circumstances super effective against you, and that's something you need to keep in mind as well. Likewise, with this Water type Talonflame over here, you're going to be really tempted to be like, okay, well, do I want Grass or do I want Electric? Well, Grass is weak to both Fire and Flying, so that'd be horrible. Electric, it resists flying and is neutral against fire and is super effective against water, so I want an electric type. But you might be like, hey, it'd be better if I had an electric and rock type. That way I could resist its flying moves and its fire moves and be super effective against that. But again, when you terrestrialize and lose that rock type to be pure electric, now the flying is going to be resisting and the fire is going to be neutral again. So you have to keep that in mind. See, this is one of those videos that like, I need to make this because people are joining raids that they can't do. I want to do the video on the most optimized mass outbreak hunting. I want to make that video for you guys, but that's just something that'd be nice to have. This is a video that we need right now. This one looks like it could be hard. He is going to be a fire type is weak to ground, rock, and water. And offensively, he is super effective against fighting, ghost, psychic, dragon, and dark. There's no overlap between the two. So you're not going to have any resistances, and he's not going to have any super effectives. So that's when you get onto the nuances of the battle. Plus he has Prankster as an ability, so all of his status afflicting moves are always going to go first. That's going to be a rough one. Or it's going to be super easy. One of the two. That's a spicy one. So this is a King Gambit, who's a dragon type. So he's only weak to ice, dragon, and fairy. But him being dark and steel, he is super effective against ice and fairy. So you have to go in here with a powerful dragon. That's your only option. Yeah. Okay, let's just talk about the upcoming December 1st raid with Tera Charizard. Charizard is a flying and fire type, and its Tera type is going to be Dragon. Dragon is only weak to Ice, Dragon, and Fairy. Ice is very weak to Fire, so obviously you don't want to do that. That only leaves Dragon and Fairy. Now, it being a Charizard, it's going to have dragon type moves. And via egg moves and TM moves, it can have steel type moves. And I guarantee on December 1st, those Charizards are going to have steel moves and they're going to be having dragon moves. Literally, it has a counter for every counter. In addition to that, it's going to have Terra Blast. So it's going to have a stab dragon type move. There is no good option for that. And I don't have any advice quite yet. Until we're on to that promoted raid, I'm gonna have no idea. But for now, if you come across one of those Pokemon matchup combinations in game, skip it. Until you're really familiar with the nuances of type matchups for Tera Raid Battles, skip it. Great, now that we've talked about the game within the game of Tera type matchup for raid battles, let's talk about what Pokemon you should be using for Tera Raid Battles and how to raise one up on your own, because I think that's something a lot of people want to know, right? Hi, it's Future Austin looking through 4.5 hours of footage and editing it down. In order for this video to be less than 1 full hour, I'm going to be skipping a very large portion of this, which is which Pokemon are specifically the best for Tera Raid Battles, and I'm going to be saving that for a future video. Instead, I'm just going to be recommending 1 or 2 types of Pokemon for you to start with your adventure to get up to the level that you can do 5 and 6 star raids, for you to be able to get candies, for you to raise other Pokemon for them to be able to do 5 and 6 star raids. I've just saved you about 45 minutes. Now, if you are playing Pokemon Scarlet, or if you plan to complete the Pokedex at any time, which requires you to trade legendary Pokemon between the 2 games, you're going to be having yourself a Koraidon and a Miraidon. These 2 dragons are Fighting Dragon and Electric Dragon. And its Terra type, for me, happen to be Fighting and happen to be Electric. Koraidon is the strongest attack, physical fighting type attacker in the game. Let me double check that. Nope, it's second highest, right behind Iron Hands, but I'm not using Iron Hands because I hate the way it looks. Hi, Philly. Plus, he can learn Drain Punch, Collision Course, which is a move that does double damage if it's super effective, Brick Break to get rid of Reflect and Light Screen, and I just still have Flamethrower on there. I actually don't know why. Miraidon is very similar, that it has Parabolic Charge, which is basically the exact same thing as Drain Punch, but it's a special type attack. Electro Drift that does double damage if it's going to be a super effective move, and that's all I've actually used it for. Miraidon is special, and Koraidon is physical. So knowing that you can have a physical fighting type as a legendary Pokemon if you're playing Scarlet, or trade it if you're playing Violet, means that you should probably have a special attacking fighting type Pokemon. For that, I say Lucario. Lucario is the second best special attacking fighting type Pokemon in the game, only behind Iron Valiant, the future Gardevoir. So, Lucario at a special attack of 115, and you can get him in the first area as a Riolu, may be your best option. All I need is, what is that, ketchup and sausage? Riolu's only found over here, pretty much exactly where I am, but he's rarely seen. That's the reason we did the encounter power. Hey there, little guy. You see this? This is what you're going to become. You're going to become this Lucario. I'm going to teach all of them how to make a Lucario. Isn't that going to be so nice? Riolu is always going to be a fighting Terra type because it can only be fighting type. It's not part steel yet. Oh, and I got a critical capture in a Premier Ball. Isn't that great? And since Riolu is based off of the Egyptian god Anubis, I'm going to name him Moon Knight. This will be our test subject for this video. Now, one of the easiest ways to level up a very low level Pokemon would be to bring them right next to where the fairy area was, and you're gonna make a ham sandwich. Doing that in this area right outside of the Team Star compound is going to make it so pretty much only chance you show up, and you could throw one of your higher level Pokemon out there to do Let's Go battles. And this Riolu is getting 105 experience. Throughout your journey, you're going to be getting a lucky egg, and you can throw that on Riolu. And then we're going to, instead of doing a Let's Go battle, we're going to do a real battle. Instead of our little Riolu getting 100 experience, he's going to be getting 6,000 experience. If you were to do a Let's Go battle against these Pokemon, then you do not gain any EVs, effort values. But if you do an actual battle, then you do gain effort values for the Pokemon that are participating, as well as the Pokemon in your party. I'm now getting to the point that one Chansey is no longer enough for one full level, but that took me about 17 minutes to gain 30 levels, which I consider that a win. Do you know what it's time for? That's right, performance enhancing drugs. This game makes it so easy for you to fully train up a Pokemon with no effort whatsoever. The fact that we did all those Chansey doesn't actually make the biggest difference as far as like the grand scheme of EV training. I'm just gonna go ahead and bulk sell all of this loot that I've been saving since I started playing the game. I haven't sold this at any point throughout the entire game because honestly, money's not really a problem, which is $500,000. Cool. I'm now at 917. By the way, from doing mass outbreaks and that Chansey maneuver there, you're going to be getting a bunch of drops. And using those drops, you can sell those off for license points. Happiny Dust is worth 150 LP, which is 18,000 LP for the 125 that I've gathered. So here in the ghost type town of Montevera, we're going to be heading into Chansey supplies. So if we ever needed to change abilities, we could do that for $100,000. I'm going to make this Riolu a special attacker. So I'm going to need 26 calcium. We do not care about speed at all. I just want HP. So I'm going to be buying 26 HP ups. I want to change his nature because he is going to be a special attacker. I want to focus on special attack and I don't care about attack. So I'm going to buy one Modest Mint for 20,000. We're going to head to, I think, pretty much any Delibird presence, and they at some point or another are going to be giving us the option for us to buy bottle caps. We're going to need up to 6 of them, so I'm just going to buy 6. It cost me $120,000, pay with cash sold. Done. You may have just noticed that I just dropped $600,000 like it was nothing. I already have a lot of these items in my inventory. I just wanted to go through a full tutorial explanation of every single item you could possibly need in order for this Riolu to do well. Something that should be noted is that if you decided to use a Pokemon from throughout your playthrough, it may have some effort values from defeating various Pokemon. For that, you would want to go into your berries pocket and then go all the way to the bottom, and you're going to be finding your variety of effort value reducing berries, such as the Pomeg, Kelpsie, Qualat, Hondu, Greppa, and Tomato berries. And if you select the item and you go to use it on a Pokemon, how many do you want to use? If you hit right, it's going to show you the maximum that you can use for that Pokemon before it stops doing anything. And if you need more, you could go to the auction house and bid on a whole bunch of those berries. So now I'm just going to go and I'm going to use a whole bunch of HP ups on Riolu. It's not going to be the full 26 because I grinded up all those Chansey. It's only going to be 20. Cool. Now I'm going to be using 26 calcium to increase the special attack. And if my math is right, because I defeated no other Pokemon with this Pokemon, I should be able to use one more bottle of whatever. I'm just going to use a bottle of iron because why not? Now its effort values are completely maxed out. We also happen to have a neutral nature, which is not giving us any significant advantage to our special attack. That's the reason we bought that Modest Mint before. And using that Modest Mint on our Riolu is going to change his stats. He used to have 78 in special attack and 74 in attack. He now has 85 and 66. We're never doing a physical attack. We just cared that that 78 went to 85. In addition, I really don't want it to have the steadfast ability. And at any of those shops, you can buy that ability capsule for $100,000, but also it's going to be dropping from various raid dens that you're going to be doing. And by looking up on Cerebi, I know that Riolu and Lucario's other ability is Inner Focus, which makes it so that you're not going to be flinched or have the effects of Intimidate, which the flinching is a problem. And since I don't care about speed, I don't want to be flinched and have my speed go up. Instead, I'd rather just not be flinched. Plus, the Intimidate doesn't bother us because we're a special attacker. The reason we came back to Montevera, the guy right next to the Pokemon Center here, he's who we can use the bottle caps for. As long as our Pokemon is level 50, they can go through hyper training, which makes their individual values significantly better. Pretend I did a few more Chansey or just use some experience candy that you got throughout your adventure here. Boom, now he's level 51, perfect. Oh, and that was enough for him to evolve. Neat. Let's go Moon Knight. And there's our Lucario. He's not a tall one, he's a small boy, I just realized that. And now that he's level 50, we could put him through hyper training. And it's going to tell you all of the stats that you can increase. The one that we don't really care about is speed. And then also, I don't care about attack because he's never doing physical attacks. In fact, he already had one perfect IV when I found him. Isn't that neat? Start the training. I now realize I should have probably wrote down what his stats were before doing that because I only have Riolu stats. So it went from 78, then we changed its nature, evolved it, and then we also did hyper training, and its attack went from 78 to 187. HP from 132 to 180. Speed from 75 to 112. Again, we don't care about that. Special defense and defense are now 92. They were 50 and 44. The one last thing I want to do is actually look at his moves, because I've just been ignoring all the moves that he can learn via level up. And you essentially want to do one main attack. You just want to be able to spam A. And I have Aura Sphere. I learned that on evolution. I don't need to worry about anything else. It's never going to miss, even if the Pokemon raises its evasion, or if it has Sand Stream or something else like that, I am good. In addition, even though we didn't work on physical attack, I am going to give him Force Palm, which can paralyze an opponent. And the reason I want to do that is because if I come across a Pokemon that knows Disable or who has Cursed Body ability, I want to be able to make sure that I have another attack to hit it with. If there's another TM that's also going to be a stab and also be your Terra type, you could definitely do that. You may also want to consider doing Terra Blast. And now our Lucario is ready to do work. So now that our Lucario is level 50, he's ready to take down any 4-star raids that he's going to be super effective against. Now, because of Pokemon.help, I'm going to know that fighting is going to be super effective against normal, rock, steel, ice, and dark. I'm now going to use this opportunity to look at raids on my map that are those 5 different types and see which ones I think I can take down without inviting anyone for help. So here I have a 4-star Tropius who is Steel type. Going to be grass and flying, but I want to be super effective and I have my fighting. And because Lucario is part Steel type, for the first 3 to 4 turns, depending on how long it takes me to get my Terra Charge up, I am going to be resisting its attacks. Even though after I Terrastalize and I lose that Steel typing, its flying moves are going to be super effective against me. So all I'm going to do is just pretty much spam the A button with my main attack, which is Aura Sphere. And it's about a 10-hit KO, not bad. Here's the Aerial Ace that we resist because we're still part Steel. Energy began to gather around Tropius. Now is the time to decide if you want to Terrastalize. If you're low on health, it's probably a good idea to not Terrastalize right now. You would want to wait until you're knocked out, because your Terrastalization works while your Pokemon is alive, but once it's knocked out and comes back into battle, it can no longer Terrastalize since their Terra Orb is out of energy. And now that I'm a pure fighting type, I am no longer going to resist its grass attacks, and I'm going to be weak to its flying attacks. Here's the Aerial Ace, and it's super effective. Now I'm getting significantly more damage. It decided to do Dragon Dance, its attack is up, its speed is up, getting a little worried, but if we could get one more hit off before he hits me again, we're good. And we did. Now we're gonna break his shield. That's the most important thing you want to be able to do. And here is the KO for the Aura Sphere. Catching or not catching the Pokemon does not affect the drops that you will receive from this battle. I'm going to be getting some Terra Shards based on whatever Terra type it was, in this case Steel. I have 5 medium candies and a large candy, as well as a nugget that I could sell for some more Eevee enhancing items. The very first thing I'm going to do is go and use those 5 medium candy and that 1 large candy that I just received from that raid battle on my 1 Pokemon that I am raising up to be really, really good at raids. So you're more than welcome to do this before you have your 8th gym badge, before you unlock 4-star raids, and just over level 1 Pokemon to help carry you throughout the entire game. Or a medium candy. That's enough for 1 full level. Nice. And the small candy is probably going to do literally nothing. It did nothing. She does look pretty majestic with the big old normal gem on its head. And that turn I'm probably not going to be able to attack because I'm immobilized. This is the first time I've experienced this. This is a very nuanced thing, and you're going to find that sometimes. Great, we won. From that Tera Raid Den, I got 3 medium candies, and then I also got 3 large candies. And I'm already at level 59, which is pretty great. I guess it's almost time for that video. If you've been waiting to pick up those ominous stakes and waiting for a video from me, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you see one of those comments being liked by a lot of people, just continue liking it as well. And thank you for the person who watched the video as soon as I put this out and immediately wrote a very detailed and nuanced statement in regard to my call out question like this. And then all the people who supported that thing. Okay, this is rough. So this is going to be a level 75 Breloom that I am super effective against, but he is grass, which I'm going to resist, and he is fighting that I'm going to be weak to until I terastalize. When you realize that a battle is already lost, don't be afraid to just hit the run button. As long as you're playing offline. If you're playing online and you run, you could be hit with a 30-minute suspension of using the online services. So definitely don't do that. But as you can clearly see, we are not ready to take on a 5-star. While you're going through and doing some of these raids, if you come across Pokemon that you don't have in your decks, definitely catch them. Also, if you have Pokemon that you already have in your decks, but they're an interesting Tera type and you think maybe in the future you'll use it one day, it's better for it to just occupy that one space in your box than you having to spend those 50 Tera shards on that one Pokemon in the future. I got a nugget and a big pearl from this, very nice. From that I got myself 3 medium candy and 1 large, and we're already up to level 61. See, he has Will-O-Wisp. That's the reason we raised a special attacker. Plus, Koraidon's a fantastic physical attacker, but you are definitely going to reach a point that you need to have a special attacker. So this is already a lost cause. We cannot do this yet. That 15 level advantage that it has, I'm just not outputting the damage that I need to actually effectively do this. If you can't take down a Pokemon in 10 moves, then chances are you are not ready for this. You're going to eventually reach a point that you're looking at the Pokemon here and you realize that you could defeat every 3-star. There's no 5 stars on your map that you could defeat with your one Pokemon that you're raising up for this. And there's a very complicated trick that you can do to change all of your dens. Are you ready? I'm going to show it to you. You may want to grab a piece of paper and write this down. You're going to hit the menu button. In system settings, you're going to go 1 day forward. You're going to leave the menu. And then you get brand new raids. I hope you found this helpful. Hit the like button if you did. I'm gonna take a break from recording here and grind these up a little bit. The current time is 11:34 a.m. So if you're in a situation like this, and there's a Blissey who's extremely weak to physical attacks, also Blissey is sought after in raid dens because of its drops, and it's a 5-star, you may want to actually let anyone join. And we already won. Yep. From that, I got a bottle cap, a large candy, an extra large candy, another large candy, and a sweet Herba Mystica. Nice. I've done some raids, and I've gotten Lucarios up to level 76. But I'm now at the point that if I do a 4-star raid, I just about get 1 level. So now is when that pace starts to slow down quite a bit. I'm now at the point that we fall into sort of a circle that you see the 5s that you can do, you defeat them, you see the 5s you can't do, you move on from them, you do all the 4 stars, and then you roll the date forward, and then you just repeat that over and over until you're at the point that your Pokemon reaches level 100. Because that level 100 Pokemon is the rock upon you will build your chapel. Here's the Lucario that I trained up in my first playthrough. Here's the Lucario I trained up today. It's actually better, just because I didn't have all the berries to remove attack EVs and other EVs that are invested in different categories. The point of this is now that I can do the 5 and 6-star raids, now I can knock out 5 different type of Pokemon raids of the, 18? I can use that candy to then quickly raise up another Pokemon. Now, I've spoken at length about Moon Knight over here, a Lucario who has a fighting Tera type because that's what Riolu has, and I prefer it to be that way as my special attacker. If you're playing Pokemon Scarlet, then your Koraidon that you're going to be getting is going to be pretty great at a lot of stuff. Throw some candies on him, get him up. He's the best physical attacker that you could have, fighting type. And if you're playing Pokemon Scarlet, Miraidon is a fantastic special electric type. If you don't have access to Miraidon, I really like Electros because it has Levitate, so it has no weaknesses. Alternatively, Magnezone is a great choice, only if you have it really, really slow and if you happen to have its hidden ability. And since the game is still really in its infancy, I haven't fully come up with the exact perfect tier list or build list or anything else as far as the best Pokemon to use for every single circumstance. I only just now started to categorize how useful the abilities are during raid dens. I also promise you guys that you're going to be able to take down a 6-star Pokemon with my video and strategy, so let's get into it. And you know what? This can go either way so far. He's down to half health. We have 3/4 time. I've been knocked out only 1 time so far. There's the terastallization. And I'm still at full health. I can terastallize now. And he's paralyzed. This could go either way. I can't terastallize yet. I've been paralyzed too much. Oh, that close combat really hurts though. The good news is every time he does it, his defense falls, and then my team can pick up the slack. And I definitely don't want to terastallize yet, because there's the close combat for the KO. But when I come back, I can then terastallize, lose my steel typing, close combat's no longer going to be super effective. Oh, that time hit really hurts. And then you just have to wait 10 seconds and watch that time tick down. It's painful, man. Okay, let's see how we do here. He hasn't removed his defense drops from the close combat yet though, so we might have this. Oh, that was nice. That was a nice hit. Electric terrain, that's not going to be too great or helpful for anyone except for him. There's the nuzzle for the paralyze. If we're not paralyzed, we may have this on the very next turn. Oh, NPCs helped. We broke the shield. Or a sphere for the KO. There's the KO. Boom. Caught it in the wild. Used items. Gave it diabetes. Trained it up right. Showed you how to do raid battles. Showed you the specific tiers that you should be doing. The fact that you should be able to do them on your own. And then you get to the point that you're able to take down 6-star raids on your own. And most importantly, learn that you don't need to rely on other people to the point that they can be more of a hindrance. There you go. This has been your Tera Raid Den guide for release week for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'm going to be working on my ability list and how effective they are going to be for Tera Raid Dens. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.
Man, they see me shining like I got the charm. Stay strapped, got that jet ball in my palm. Felt from the sky, guess I'm the chosen one. And if you need to know how, check out Austin John. Champion flow, flow. Yeah, I got that champion flow, flow.